Welcome to my Healthy Africa Weekly Insights, where we talk about health, nutrition, challenges, highlights, and heroes associated with the wonderfully unique, complex, and beautiful continent of Africa. This weekly series, powered by the Force for Health Network, is aired live on LinkedIn Audiocast on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then shared afterwards here on our podcast channel, My Healthy Africa Podcast. Now, let's meet our hosts, Force for Health Network.
I cut that off a little bit short. How you doing, Rob?
Hello, Lucy. How are you doing?
We're doing fabulous. It is Tuesday, March 7th, and we are here on our 7th episode of Weekly Insights for My Healthy Africa team. So we're excited to kind of dive into a little bit of focus on Ghana with one of our strategic partners, Educom. A little bit later, we will be joined by Veronica Safo Owusu, who is the current president of Educom, and hopefully Addison, one of the Force for Health interns that you had a chance to work with over the last couple of years. But figured we could just go ahead and share this these first couple opening segments, restating why we're doing what we're doing here. You know, I'm here in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. You're there in State College, Pennsylvania, and yet we feel compelled to have this channel, this community, this voice, and this effort towards My Healthy Africa. Unfortunately, our fearless partner, Amos, is not able to join us today due to some connection issues, but that is a reality in reality health games, right? When we have to navigate the connection and the digital communication space. But for me, I have always considered myself to be a healthy global citizen. My mom's Filipino, my dad's German Swiss. You know, I'm in a mixed race family, and I have always had an appreciation of the world, and I get excited about learning about different parts of the world. So at a very core fundamental, foundation, that's why I absolutely want to put some focus on Africa and include this into the whole reality health games. That was probably simplistic, but I'll pass it on over to you, Rob.
Well, it's not simplistic at all. I think I like to view this as a very small world, and we're all one airplane ride away from sharing with or encountering with illness or disease that could come from one place or another. But we're also one Zoom call or one phone call, one letter, or one airplane ride away from sharing immense wealth and wisdom and opportunity. I think many folks here in Pennsylvania look upon their knowledge of Africa as a homogeneous continent, as opposed to a mixture of a variety of races and cultures and religions and resources. So much of what has been shared, I think, on television during my formative years was a decade of Sally Struthers commercials showing horrible, impoverished situations in what was then Biafra. Similar to that, when there's uprisings or news issues or other Civil War issues, gets a lot of press, but the recovery doesn't. The leadership doesn't. The resources don't. And I've been fortunate enough, just because of my relationships, maybe in the health and medical world over the years, this has put me in touch with people from around the world that are advocates and leaders and resources, teaching me of the great things that can be shared both ways. And so I'm very excited to learn more. I am in a situation of plenty compared to many, but many in Africa are in a situation of plenty compared to many folks here. I look at rural Pennsylvania, in the Appalachian communities. I see very many similarities to rural African communities, perhaps on a different scale and depending on what region of Pennsylvania, what region of Africa you're talking about. But we have a lot we can learn from each other and a lot we can share with each other.
Yeah, and this whole concept of health, right? The science of health. You are our chief medical officer. I am just the regular, concerned citizen, mom. So I think that whenever I speak with you, I always learn something. And I think I've called you this several times in the past. I feel like you're like the Mr. Rogers of medicine, just because you have such a great skill and way to explain things on a very, you know, basic level to where we can understand things. And, as we host different leaders around the world, around the country, in different communities, really, mom, whether you're in Africa, remember when we had our opening and our activation event in Kenya, one of the big community responses and what we can do was actually let's train the mamas, because typically the mamas are the CEOs of the family wherever you are. And you keep wanting to say, yeah, CEO and doctor, right? I kind of hesitate to add that doctor because I don't want to, I'm risk mitigating. I'm not associating physician or doctor with regular moms.
I'll say Dr. Mom. I think that there's a medical word. It's really a French word that the medical community adopted called triage, which means to sort. And I think at least the mom or dad, the caregiver, the guardian of that child, whoever's running that household. And in some households, it's unfortunately a teenager left with a lot of responsibility, but they become the triage officer of when does something elevate to the status of needing higher level of support or care. And I think the mom in many situations is in that role. The school nurse becomes very much in that role. Lucy, if you look at epidemiologic studies and things, by the time you get reports from doctors reporting to the health department of an outbreak of an epidemic or something, the moms know it 2 days before the school nurses know it, and the school nurses know it 2 days before the pediatricians or family doctors know it. And that's all a week or two before the CDC or other epidemiologic public health associations know it. To the point where after 9/11, certain partnerships took place initially with the Department of Homeland Security with groups like major box retailers that was reporting on an hourly basis sales of things like toilet paper, Kleenex, Pepto-Bismol, looking for GI gastrointestinal outbreaks. I don't mean GI like army people, gastrointestinal outbreaks or sinus infections, or increased sales of thermometers, increased sales of fever medicine, Tylenol and aspirin. Those reports are part of an intelligence to try and spot outbreaks and epidemics. I found that fascinating, that data from a variety of sources, including from what the mom chooses to do. So that's where we have to make the care, you have at least an informed health literate caregiver in every home. I think that's where, I can put on my cardigan sweater and change my shoes and play Mr. Rogers a little bit sometimes and try and be that translational interpreter, at least of medical jargon or very complex principles to something that I would understand in my 6th grade self that maybe someone else can as well.
As we launch this wonderful channel, right? I again get very excited about taking a deeper dive into the countries as we activate. We had a very interesting event with Kenya and Nairobi with the leaders there, and it was within this event when we activated that we I mentioned earlier, Lydia was, let's see, where are we here? We're like looking at Lydia who, and it always takes, that country leader there to be the instigator, right? We are missing Amos right now. Amos will be back with us next week when we get his internet all figured out here. But it usually takes and can start with just the passion and spirit of one person, who then has a small group of folks to lean in to help make it happen. But when I was talking about the moms earlier, this is the graphic I wanted to pull up here really quickly. My favorite part of that community activation in Nairobi, Kenya, was when there was a call to the audience and say, like, hey, do we have what it takes to really model, population health and behavioral health and community health? And what do you think we need to do? And these were some of the things that came up, right? Social class is a major issue. Too much work, not enough healthy me work. Need to push and pull for your health. Same thing. Avoid alcohol. Better sleep. Decrease amount. Find a force for health buddy. I love that they actually said that. She also said we need to move and exercise. Again, these are human deals. These aren't like African deals or American deals. But in the middle, I should make that bigger, it was let's train the mamas. So that was just, part of what I wanted to kind of bring up and re-emphasize as we go around and put spotlights on these various countries. Today, we wanted to go ahead and spotlight, let me get to kind of like, I should probably have had that on slide 1 to begin with, Ghana. And so hopefully we will be joined by Veronica here in a few moments. And if not, we've got a video that we can go ahead and share some of the insights that we wanted to share. And we'll see if Addison can join us as well. But, let's learn together and let's kind of take a little spotlight, tour on Ghana. I actually didn't even realize until I started learning about it that Ghana is coastal. It's, on water. People kind of think, Africa desert. So Accra, which is the capital, is right there on the water. It's got a population of about 31 million people, making it one of the most populous countries in West Africa. Population's diverse, various ethnic groups, tons of people at the beach, right? That's Labadi Beach in Accra. Again, I think that if you just first think of Africa, safaris and desert, and you don't necessarily think metropolitan cities, but of course they are thriving metropolitan cities all across Africa. This happens to be Accra. I hope I'm saying that right. Accra or Accra, do you know?
No.
I should probably. This is where we are missing, Moses, our fearless leader here, or I should say Amos. But 2.6 million. That's a fairly large city. That's bigger than Tucson. That's smaller than Phoenix. It's probably like a Cleveland, in that type of range. Again, it's on the Gulf of Guinea. And so I just thought it was kind of interesting to show all these boats in there. Diverse topography with coastal plains and savannas, rainforests, and I'm going to say the Akwapan Togo mountain range, perhaps. Rob, maybe next time you're going to take the presentation so you can maybe pronounce some of these a little bit more. But again, very rich in the biodiversity.
Yeah.
Official language is English, which people might not realize as well. I thought that was interesting. Akan is the most widely spoken indigenous language, with many other languages spoken throughout the country. Jollof rice, banku, tilapia, fufu, light soup. I think that our partners here, Educom, right, hosted a gala last year and featured tons of food from Ghana. I think this next slide is mislabeled. That's not, of course, jollof rice, but it's bananas.
You know, of interest, Educom has a gala coming up in New York.
Mhm.
Has a gala coming up in New York in August, which will feature Ghanaian food. It's a major fundraiser for the Educom Foundation. I think it's something like $70 per person. I think for what it is, it's a wonderful, wonderful event. But keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off.
you know, when I look at cultures, there's food, there's people, there's diversity, there's music, you know, there's just the celebration of life. This I thought this was interesting just because I'd never really seen it before, but you know, the balafon, the Ghanaian xylophone.
Xylophone. Yeah,
Well, I was saying balafon down here is what they're calling it,
I see. Yeah.
but yeah, it's a Ghanaian xylophone. Of course, all sorts of animals, right? National parks and reserves, such as Mole National Park. I also think it's interesting how there is in all the countries a system of national parks. I like how that exists from country to country, or at least I haven't come across a country yet that we've taken a deep dive in that doesn't have an existence of national parks. So
That's an American tradition that was exported.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
I didn't look to see when it actually started. I did and was following the history of national parks and just that whole preservation movement, which is incredible. So yeah, if it was an American tradition that was exported, I'm happy to see it in place as the world's population continues to grow and grow and grow. At least we know that there's these national parks and reserves
Yeah.
across the country.
Okay.
It's reported that they have a stable political environment, growing economy, strong commitment to democracy, known for its we know everyone that we've met that Lawrence has introduced us to, very friendly, hospitable people. Now we kind of sort of getting into some of the challenges, which is very similar to many of the African countries, but you know, related to inadequate access to healthcare, education, and clean water. I mean, water's probably the biggest differentiator in Africa than the U.S.
Yeah, but I'd like to point something out about Ghana that absolutely fascinates me is that Lake Volta is an artificial lake. It's one of the largest in the world, sitting behind the Akasambo Dam, a project funded by the World Bank, the United States, and the United Kingdom. Was constructed in the 60s, and it dramatically changed the economy of the country to have hydroelectric power and a large supply of water for irrigation and drinking. So it is a challenge, but even though the country has a great deal of resource in that lake, there's still regions that have inadequate supply of safe drinking water or water for irrigation.
I think that that's fascinating. So last week we mentioned on the movie Molly about that gentleman who had come from the African orphanage and then, you know, at about the age of 18, 19, got a chance to start working and then was just very successful from that point on. But then at the peak of his success, turned back and actually started adopting these orphans and then grew over 26, 30,000, you know, orphans in terms of the support structure. And then they planted all those trees over the course of decades and changed climate. So, you know, that's the category that I kind of put up in what you just said. And I wish we need to add that to one of our Did You Know slides for Ghana, because what a great example of government working together with people for environmental cause, right? What was it called? Lake
Volta, VOLTA.
Lake Volta. Okay, yeah. So we'll need to go ahead and add that into our Did You Know spot at Ghana. Our idea and our thought is to put these little badges together at the Force for Health. And simply by going through some of these very general, did you know factoids, you can earn a little badge. And this is all for free at this level. And it's our way of maybe supporting this concept of healthier global citizenship, a way to increase literacy and cultural empathy for folks around the world. And that's what we call the reality health games. And so, yeah, you could go download something, go watch something, but we thought it would be fun to maybe challenge individuals and communities to learn, to not actually just learn, to move, learn, serve, and earn in in this kind of fun community challenge. So that's what, if you see reality health games down at the bottom and why we're doing this is some of the foundational reasoning behind that. Additionally, environmental concerns such as deforestation and illegal mining poses significant challenges. Again, going back to, thank God there's national parks, and hopefully those are super protected, you know, in terms of not being able to be encroached by things like this. But here in Arizona, you know, we are a huge, huge copper source. And there's the miners versus the non-miners, the environmentalists versus the protector of land and or the commercialization of resources. Although it's only hitting about 1.5% of our land mass here. So, you know, hopefully there is balance that can be found in resource in resource usage. Ghana made strides in improving community health through initiatives like the National Health Insurance Scheme and vaccination campaigns. Mm-hmm. However, healthcare infrastructure and access to quality healthcare remains uneven across the country. And this is why we're excited to spotlight partners like Educom, so we can share a little bit more about what they're doing as a team to impact the country that they love so much. So just a couple other, you know, cool pictures just to kind of take you around Ghana. And we'll go ahead and take that off right now. So, you know, part of, like I said, My Healthy Africa, the first part will always just be a spotlight on the country. Let's learn a little bit more about it. And I still don't see our guests here. So, Rob.
I do see that Addison is in the audience. I just send him a link to try and join the call. If you're listening,
okay.
Addison.
Wonderful, wonderful. And let's see, Veronica. Oh, got it. Okay, little miscommunication on the Veronica. So maybe we will have her live next week. She's based in the UK, actually. So there's a little miscommunication on what the specific time was. She thought it was UK time and not US time here. But you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about Educom. I mean, you were on the board, so, you know, full transparency here. You know, we've been working really closely with some strategic partners, some of which we are on the board of and some of which we are simply just working closely with. But do you want to go ahead and kind of give an overview of what Educom is? I've got, you know, Veronica's 5-minute speech that she did during the gala last week, which I think sets a nice tone. And then I also have a nice video on the on the mobile community bus that they're working on as well. But Mr. Board Member, go ahead.
Bottom line is Educom was a foundation that's been led by Lawrence Fianco, a former Ghanaian, and former Indianapolis resident, now living up in the New York area. Educom has been focused on providing educational opportunities for high school, college students for tuition-free college attendance and sometimes even living expenses. It's a wonderful organization. All of their money that they get donated goes right into scholarships and into programmatic things. As far as I know, no one's taking a salary out of it. Almost everything is donated, including what we're doing with Force for Health. As a board member, I don't have the revenue to donate dollars that I wish to use in that manner. I wish to leverage all of our tools of the Force for Health to create an ambassadorship where if someone clicks on that QR code and joins the Force for Health, half the revenue goes right into the mission for what Educom is up to. And part of what they've been doing is providing scholarships, but also now increasingly hardware and connectivity and other barriers, such as providing a well, or what they call a borehole, to provide drinking water at school, allowing the girls at that school to not have to have the task of being that person that has to retrieve that water from a distant site. Actually, if you look closely, it brought our board member, Veronica, to tears in the background, standing up, and to her immediate left is Lawrence, the director. So this is about 2 years ago, where they raised some money. I think primarily Veronica coordinated her network and her own income to help do this. But Educom claimed the credit for this type of thing to really energize the educational community to not be struggling with barriers to education. Lucy, we talked about the social determinants of health, or the social barriers to health. Education is one of them, but all those things that are barriers to health are also barriers to education.
And thank you, Addison. I hope that you can get a guest speaker link over to you. We would love to bring you on. Addison, of course, was I'll just say current tense, one of the students that received a scholarship on behalf of Educom for his higher education, and has been working with Rob on several projects, an 8 to 3 nutrition guide featuring foods and recipes from Ghana, and good, looks like he may be able to join us. And I know he's got a second chapter teed up here. I'm gonna add Addison here.
Hey, Addison, good to see you again. How you doing?
Hello. Yeah, good to see you. Good evening.
What is shaking? It's so good to see you. We are, of course, putting a spotlight on Educom. Unfortunately, Veronica, we got the times mixed up a little bit, but I am going to go ahead and show her video. But we were putting some pictures to the broadcast. Rob, the original intention of this trip was not water. Right? It was to bring books and computers to some of these orphanages in and around Accra and throughout Ghana.
Yeah.
And one of the orphanages that they stopped and visited at, they noticed that they had to go and come back for something as simple as water. Right? Addison, were you involved in the water project with them at all?
Yeah, so I was involved, but I didn't actually go with them at the field. But I was part of the people that did the planning of the project.
Share with the audience who you are, what you're doing right now, how you came to work with Educom, and what you're going to be doing moving forward this year.
Okay, so I'm I'm a research and teaching assistant at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana, where I read bachelor's degree in food science and technology. I recently graduated, and I got engaged with educational communities worldwide far back in 2021, where I had a conversation with the co-founder of the organization. And then he expressed interest in me assisting with volunteering for the organization. I think recently when he came to Ghana, he invited me to Accra to come and then have a conversation with him. And it was quite an interactive one, where we got to communicate about some of the opportunities that educational communities worldwide have given to some Ghanaian students who are less privileged. And moving forward, their partnership with Force for Health Network. And through Dr. Roberts, I also got the opportunity to join Force for Health Network as a Force for Health volunteer. And so far, it has been an interesting opportunity for me trying to advocate for health and advancing global health policy implementations, especially in Ghana, as well as assisting in helping my community to live in a healthy way, being a force for health for my community as well as my country, and then my house or my family as well. And it has been an awesome opportunity, and I definitely look forward to continuing to volunteer with this organization in
I
any
appreciate
little way
that.
possible. Yeah.
It's always great to see you. One of your mentors also is Lawrence Bianco, who's the current director at Education Communities Worldwide, and I think he's joining us. Lawrence, thanks for joining the call. Here, as you know, you remember Lucy Howell and Addison Conlon, who you're on the screen with. I was talking about we've got a gala coming up in New York as a fundraiser. You're currently in New York in your beautiful garage office, I can see. So that's a spectacular good use of space. How are you doing? And what is Educom up to right now? What initiatives, what problems are you trying to address? Because as we look at dedicating Force for Health memberships to sharing revenue with Educom, what things would we be supporting, sir?
Okay, good to see you, Dr. Rob. Good to see you, Lucy.
Hi, Lawrence.
Good to see you guys. So thanks for the invitation. Unfortunately, I could not join on time. So our president will be joining us shortly. She had the time mixed up. So right now we have an upcoming gala coming up on August 15th in New York. Studio exhibits is on our website. So what we're trying to do for this gala is to raise funds to launch the Educom Ghana Mobile Community Center. Is an innovative mobile unit equipped with computers, library resources, internet access, and more to reach underserved students in rural Ghana. So you can just pick, we actually have a video on our website that kind of explains, has a brief synopsis of what we're trying to do in rural Ghana. The issue in rural Ghana is the digital divide, the digital and educational divide. So we are trying to bridge that digital and educational divide by coming up with this mobile bus equipped with all these resources, which would have access to internet, access to computers, teaching the kids coding, kind of like a safe space where the kids can come after school to learn all these things without having being cut off by light, electricity, or being cut off by lack of internet, because this bus will have everything in it. So the goal is to expand this to, and it's mobile. We can move from one area to another, right? The goal is to be able to purchase more buses and spread out and be kind of like a mobile unit for the underserved kids to have.
I think that's a tremendous asset. You know,
I have the video, and it's only 1 minute, and Veronica has joined. So let me play the video, and then we'll bring Veronica in, and then we can finish out strong, okay? Hold on 1 second. Uh-oh. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. We are going to stop. Let's try that one more time. Sorry about that. Let's go here and share. Then we'll make sure that the sound is on. And we're good. Alrighty. Give me 1 second and we are good.
In our increasingly digital world, many students lack access to vital educational resources, especially in developing countries like rural Ghana. The digital divide creates inequalities, hindering academic potential. To address this, Educational Communities Worldwide presents the Educom Ghana Mobile Community Center program. These buses are equipped with computers, libraries, tutors, mental health services, and recreational zones offering students a rich learning environment. They travel to cities and remote villages, delivering education directly to those in need. Students can access online courses, research, homework help, and digital skills, all in a safe, supervised after-school space. Educom bridges the digital gap, empowering students, fostering academic excellence, and nurturing future leaders and innovators. Your support can help Educom reach more students and continue closing the digital divide in Ghana. Join us in this mission.
Thank you for that.
And without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Veronica.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm great. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all.
And let me just start off by saying I apologize about the time mix-up, but that's okay.
So sorry about that.
We
the UK, US.
we started off the show just sharing some top facts about Ghana and really bringing up some of these wonderful, wonderful things that you guys have done throughout the years in terms of the water board, right? And getting books and computers to Ghana. So I'm going to take these off now because I want to take full advantage of you being here, right? So chairman, president, of course, alongside Lawrence, founder of Educom. Rob tried to state this earlier and he did a good job, but I want to hand the baton to you. Tell us about Educom and why there is such a passion in bringing resources and scholarships to Africa, starting in Ghana.
Well, it all started when I was 16 years old, and I observed. Was that question to me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
It started over 16 years ago. So when I was 16 years old, I remember walking into one of the classrooms that my mom was teaching in. She was the nursery superintendent. And I had finished my lessons because I was, in I think high school then. I went to the back of the class and just observed her and how she was hypnotizing these children with the story she was reading, and just how in awe they were, listening and answering questions. You could see she had ignited a spark within them, a spark of curiosity, of the desire to learn more, to find out more, to kind of engage and indulge into the story. They were immersed fully. I remember that day, like today, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be able to inspire, to empower, to help and transform students, because as we know, and I know it's a bit cliche, but they are our future leaders. So I followed the footsteps of my mom and I did my master's in educational sciences. Many years later, I became a teacher, working in the educational sector for over 15 plus years. Now, this was in Poland, and I remember I diverted from teaching into coaching because they were both branches from the same root: impact, inspiration, transformation. So as I was doing my coaching work, and Lawrence, seeing the work I was doing already, reached out to me. He could see the passion that was already within me. And it all came from a young age, knowing that teaching was something that was meant for me. I had the ability to engage, to indulge, to inspire. So when Educom came into the picture, I was so fascinated by their mission as it aligned with my vision. I was inspired to follow the footsteps of all the other presidents and all the other board members that had trailed the path. And so today, having the opportunity to impact in a way that aligns with who I am, with my skills, with my passion, with my purpose, I couldn't have asked for any better partner or any better place to be than Educom. As you can see, the work that we're doing, there's so much more to be done, so much more. And the project, the mobile community where we can, reach rural villages where they don't have access to all these resources, and we can actually make a difference, is truly inspirational. And I hope that we can ignite that spark in those that are watching too.
I think, Veronica, it's been inspiring to work with you and people like Lucy, who's also inspired by her mother, a teacher, author, and trying to, she and I have been working to try and make resources available inexpensively worldwide, rather than hide knowledge or have barriers to it. And that's where the next generation, what I've been excited about is working with someone like Addison Conlon, who's also on this call. He and students he helped recruit, some of the scholars you funded, have made a booklet about kind of an A to Z about Ghanaian diet and nutrition that is shortly available. It's free, something they could view on the bus if they have online or on their phone. But if they don't have internet and your bus makes a delivery, why not drop it off a print version and have that sponsored? So he's been working on a multimedia way to educate about diet and about healthy food and healthy eating as he's working on his career to become part of the food supply chain security of food security for all Ghanaians. So I am so proud of someone like him and the support you all have given a scholar and an employee like Addison. I can't wait 10 years from now to do this call again and see what he's up to as a scholar with a master's degree that you guys helped launch and giving back in a small way. Anyone watching this, what can they do in a small way? They can put air in those tires on that van. They can pay for some internet data minutes.
Yeah.
So they can provide online content that's validated that I've spent my life and Lucy's life working on, that we can give and make available to anyone in Ghana. And if they buy something, we are committed to giving half that revenue back to supply that van or the other initiative that Educom wishes to work with through that connection. Lucy, go ahead.
What's the current status of the mobile unit? Is it up and running, or is this just a concept, or kind of like what's the state of that initiative as of March 2024? And that's for Lawrence and
yes, Lawrence.
Right. That's one of the reasons why the main aim for the fundraiser gala this August 15th from 5 to 6 at Studio Exhibit is to be able to raise funds. Right now, I don't want to call it a concept because I want it to be real. So I would call it something that will happen with the help of donors, of course, attending this gala. There will be we'll be having a lot of things going on in this gala, like I forgot what it's called.
Are you going to do the online auction like we did last time? Right, that was awesome.
Yeah, we did 2 years ago. Yes, we'll be having the online auction, which would exhibit a lot of Ghanaian culture, art and craft. There'll be so many different activities. Like we'll be inviting some musicians to come sing. There'll be some dancers will be available just to display the Ghanaian culture. You won that bid.
I bought this at the auction, but the reason I bought it was, I think it was your mother or a relative.
My mother-in-law was the one giving the description.
Your mother-in-law described the art and the story that went with this traditional mask.
Feels really good.
And so it's helping to decorate my home office here right now, but it reminds me every day of the value of storytelling, of mentoring, and having that comfortable area in the back of the bus, so to speak, or when the bus is there, having it be a comfortable area for people to gather and be supervised and mentored with safe access to the internet, and maybe some snacks and some food if Addison has his way of providing. But is there an existing? The picture looked like a school bus in the graphic. Is that just a convenience for the marketing piece, or do you have a vehicle that you need to put the satellite?
We don't have anything yet. Everything would need to be purchased and remodeled. Again, this is more of what we want to bring into reality. We have to obviously purchase a vehicle, partner with an organization that would remodel it to fit what we want. We're also looking for partners that would obviously help us with computers, help us with internet, help us with any of the supplies. It looks like Force for Health will be helping us with some magazines and some booklets, healthy booklets. So we are looking for more people to support this, to bring it into a reality. And one way of us, bringing this to the people is, doing the fundraiser gala, which is this August in New York. And if you go on our website on www.educom.world, I'm sure we'll put the website there. It has all the information you need in terms of getting tickets. The tickets is, very, very affordable. Right now, we have the early bird bid that goes for $50 to the end of the month, and the regular tickets goes for $70. And we have the sponsorship here as well, and what goes with it. So if you have the chance, go look at that. Right now, we haven't decided if we'll do this virtually yet. We're still thinking about that. But for now, it's going to be in person. And we will make this happen.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty, right? What is the budget for making that happen? So let's just go ahead and kind of say that, so that for those watching, if they choose to, write checks, and or maybe they have an empty school bus laying around that potentially could help. We don't know. So what's the budget for like making your dream? I already think that the borehole budget on the water at $2,500, I believe all in, was like incredible. That's incredible. But on this bus, what do you guys need to make this happen?
Okay, so to have this bus come into a reality, we're looking at not more than $100,000 for the bus. But we want to start small, right? So if we are able to raise only $10,000, we are able to start with the pilot project that would be very similar to this, but wouldn't have all the resources needed, and all the resources you see on the videos wouldn't be available with the 10K, but it would be a good start. $10,000 would give us, the computers, would give us the access to the internet, that would not give us the infrastructure, which is the bus. But we could partner with someone who has a bus, and instead of buying it ourselves, we could rent it. So that's the lowest budget. So we can start small for $10,000 to have the pilot, or we could go big and have our own bus, which a lot involved with that: purchasing the bus, remodeling the bus, shipping from wherever. If we're going to buy it in the USA, we have to ship, which is a lot of money.
Lawrence, I was involved with an effort with a fire truck type of initiative for Moldova in a previous foundation life. And someone donated the fire truck, but it spent more money getting the transportation to get it to Moldova than if they would have taken a truck from the Moldova area. Local people renovated and created jobs. And I think two things here. At the start of this call, I talked about rural Pennsylvania, and I'm really in touch with the rural Pennsylvania people. Huge interest in broadband in rural America is not that dissimilar from rural Ghana in many ways, unfortunately or fortunately, with its benefits, its wonderful people, but its challenging places for infrastructure. The point I'm getting at is, when we do a project like this, sometimes that little bit of infrastructure just for the hotspot sitting on top of a tiny car and a few laptops and a few chairs can create the start of a project. and we can scale up from there. But I'd encourage anyone watching this, I am interested in mirroring what you do in Ghana in my own backyard is part of the mechanism to get people interested in then donating to do something similar in Ghana or vice versa, for that matter.
I'd like to pass the baton back to President. And how do you feel like you can help make this happen? Like, what do you feel like needs to take place? And why do you think it's so important, Veronica?
Yeah, great things start with one step. 1,000 miles starts with one step. And the pilot program really can start almost immediately. We don't even need the vehicle yet. We can use or locate or target communities where they have learning centers or community centers. Each village has a community center. As a matter of getting there, using available already resources, and having at least the resources, the digital resources such as the laptop, which can be donated. I had a former client say, Veronica, why didn't you come to me much earlier? They were, liquidating a whole bank and they were throwing away laptops and, well,
Yes.
they're literally throwing away, literally. But yes, they were giving away, and that was a while back. So these things are happening. People are disposing of laptops that they don't need, but somebody's junk is somebody's gold. So all these things, we really don't need much. I'm a great believer of starting with what you have. If what we have is what we have, then we will do what we have. And that's where Lawrence was talking about the pilot program. So it's literally about gathering the volunteers. I personally, Lawrence, I'm sure, would love to be part of that pilot program. Actually, we are going to be part of that pilot program. I was supposed to be in Ghana in March. Unfortunately, there were some events that were happening here in the UK that I had to attend. But I'm certainly going, and just with even a book club, for example, or an IT club, we could start with that. So answering the question, we will do with what we have, and if it's almost nothing, then we will make of it. Ghana, Africa is known for being resourceful. It's not about what we don't have, it's about how resourceful can we get. Children are making super Formula One cars out of metal tins. They're making constructions and bicycles out of bamboo. So we are all resourceful. So we are so determined and so passionate, and feel that this is a huge need that needs to be addressed. So we shall start with what we have. And this year, from the gala, I'm sure that will enable us to expand into greater dimensions of this project. So I hope I've answered the question.
Yeah, no. And, sometimes thinking, oh my gosh, I got to get a bus and I got to get stuff to put in and I got to get gas and I got to get connection. It's sometimes you're right. It sounds like a lot, right? But little steps make a difference. But I brought this picture up because it's just so telling right here. Take us back to this moment right here and kind of what the original intention of this trip was, and then what this moment meant to you and Lawrence. I mean, of course, I've got, these and these, but I really want you to focus and take us right back to that moment. What was going on? Set it up and then share with us kind of how you guys made this moment happen.
I'll take you back to the moment I was sitting on my sofa here in the UK and talking on the phone with Lawrence. He said, we're going to Ghana to commission the borehole. I'm like, count me in, I'm coming. I must come and see this with my own eyes. And that was, the beginning of something truly fulfilling. I remember the day we attended the whole ceremony, and I had no idea that the what is it called? That table, that metal, what is it called? That was secured onto the borehole. What was it?
Oh,
The engraving.
the I forgot what it's called.
Yeah. So there's this engraved
Yes,
thing.
right there. Yeah.
What is it called?
The black.
I just call it a plaque or
Plaque. Okay, all right, right. So it was a whole event at that village and in that orphanage. I remember arriving. We had been there a few months earlier. Or was it the year earlier? And this was now the commission. The joy in the children's eyes, the whole kind of gratitude was truly fulfilling. One thing that just caught me off guard totally was that they never told me. They never told me that this plaque was going to be placed onto the borehole with special thanks to Veronica Safo Owusu initiating this project and so on. And that just caught me off guard. And it was a moment I will never forget. I'm like, I told Lawrence, if I die tomorrow, I've lived my life. Like this is what I live for, right? Just to see the impact and to see those faces. I'm like, I'm good. That, I mean, of course, not literally, but that was the extent to the amount of gratitude and fulfillment and just pure joy. I remember when I raised this campaign in the beginning, I had no intention or no expectation attached to the outcome. I did not. We were just trying to fill out a 10,000 poly tank, 10,000 liter poly tank with water. That's what was the aim, and we exceeded our expectations. So the lesson here is sometimes when you have no expectation of the outcome and you just pour in your passion, you pour in your energy, you pour in the purpose, like great things can happen.
And remind us what the economic model of this looked like. How much did you guys have to raise to bring water to kids?
To build the borehole, I think we raised around 2,500, Lawrence, was it?
Mm-hmm. And that number just sticks in my mind because
it does.
And coming from Arizona in the U.S., we have all these complaints and people are like, blah, 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 blah. And, a small gift of $2,500 delivered water.
That's about 10,000 or 15,000 Ghana cedis above. It just signifies the huge difference in money value, right? What is peanuts here in the U.S. is something truly valuable and can save lives in another country.
Do you have access for inexpensive transportation for things being donated, not just dollars or money being donated?
Yeah, so we have other resources that are being donated apart from finances. So we have, of course, the IT side of things, so the laptops, right, the equipments that enable the children to at least have their curiosity quenched and introduce them into the IT world. Who knows? One of our members, Joseph Hamelo, he's our Chief Operating Officer. His story was truly inspiring because as a child, he remembers in his rural town, somebody from the city came and just showed them a computer. And that was the beginning of his journey. He was so curious and so passionate, and he's doing great things today in the IT world. But that was the ignition that a child needed. So this is what we want to repeat. So yes, in donations, books, right? In the orphanage, even mosquito nets, because the mosquitoes were biting little children, at night. So all these little things add up. They can't even, because they didn't have a good night's sleep, they struggled to focus on their studies in the morning because they had to wake up so early and walk miles to fetch water. They could not make it on time for their lessons. Now that is solved. So yeah.
It's what I just the challenge to throw out there, if we get back to Lawrence at some point, is my son-in-law every week has a 275-gallon polyplastic storage tank in a metal cage that can be lifted with a fork truck that he has to dispose of every week, based on the work in his community. I mean, that it would be, and they're going to places like people's hunting cabins and other such things. But those are, it could be an immense resource to store water or whatever. So as I challenge people who might be watching this to think, what do they have that could make a difference either in their own community or actually with transportation? If we get a container out of the Midwest or out of Pennsylvania, out of New York to Ghana, what could they be donating?
And I'm going to go ahead and play time clock here. I don't want to, because of course this is a wonderful conversation, but it is creeping up on the end of our hour here. If you would like to get involved, of course, educom.world is where you can connect, follow, support. We are a strategic partner with them. So if you go to the Force for Health Network, search for Educom, or even go off of this QR code, you can freeze the screen right here. And if you go ahead and connect off of that QR code, it goes directly to the Educom team ticket for Reality Health Games. And not only can you have access to the Force for Health platform and take care of your health, you can learn, but half of all tickets will then support Educom's initiatives and capabilities there. So, yep, Rob's holding up a ticket right there. And so thank you. I think that it's important for people to know that you guys are actually, Educom is a US-based not-for-profit company. And I think that it makes it easier to support efforts in Africa when donating to a US charitable nonprofit, 501c3. So I think that even something as simple as $150 to support possibly, scholarship application fees. Addison, we're so excited, right, that Educom supported higher education in Accra for your scholarship, but then you're continuing your education here at the University of Wisconsin, right? I believe, as a momentum and pathway, due to some scholarships that were, and even if it's just a little application fee scholarship, right? Because every little bit helps. So, final words. Let's go around and recap. Rob, 30-second recap.
June 8th, Addison, June 8th, I'll be near Madison, Wisconsin. Come meet my family. Let's have dinner together. I can finally meet you. But in the meantime, prepare. We're going to do a show where we introduce the books you worked on with your team and make them available to the world.
Okay, great. All right.
Addison, final 30 seconds, final thoughts here.
Yes, so there's always a saying that teamwork makes the dream work.
Mm-hmm.
And, I believe that when we come together as a team, as people of, color, different backgrounds, diverse people coming together, I believe that will bring in a lot of things that would make Educom a great organization or an impactful one. And moving forward, I believe that with this inspiring team, Veronica and then the entire board of directors that are working so hard to ensure that this vision is advanced, I believe that in the long run it's going to make an impact in Ghana, and it's also going to make an impact in Africa at large. So kudos to you, and it's a great thing, and I'm happy to also be part of this team.
I'm so happy you were able to join us.
Yeah.
Are you coming in from Ghana?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. See, we are truly global here, and we've got Veronica coming in from London, right?
Manchester to be exact. So I was just smiling listening to you, Addison. Thank you so much. You're a true testimony of what it means to have that support, and I can't wait to see the great things that await you as well. So yes, just summing up, I believe that together with the support and with the initiative of the Educom Gala on the 15th of August, I'm going to be highly promoting it on my social media and getting my US friends to join, because I'm going to be personally there in the US, first time ever. So we can truly, with that initiative, make accessible to the rural parts of Ghana, to the children, to the students, things that they've only dreamt of: the computer, the book, access to conversations that ignite new trails of thought. We can make it happen. So that's my belief.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us next Tuesday, same time. We will always be live, but then you can watch later on Facebook. And I think Facebook and Instagram were down today. So we'll see if this one even went over.
I heard the same.
This is on YouTube, Facebook, and of course at theforceforhealth.com. So we encourage, join the network. It's free. And then if you want to lean in and be an ambassador for any one of our partners like Educom, sign on up, join some challenges, and population health is a team sport, everybody. Okay, everybody plays a role. So if you want to play some reality health games with the Force for Health, visit us at theforceforhealth.com. And we leave you with this. Have a great week. Be a force for health. Be a global cultural citizen. And be kind. Be well. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of My Healthy Africa. We invite you to join us in our online community at www.myhealthyafrica.com or by downloading our 360 Degrees Force for Health Academy app from your app stores, then joining our group called My Healthy Africa. Here you can connect with other like-minded global citizens who care about celebrating, learning and supporting the people, the culture and opportunities from across Africa, and even participate in our global reality health games, where you can earn points, badges and an opportunity for prizes as we move, learn, serve and earn our way towards being a better force or health citizen of the world. Basic membership is free to join, or you can upgrade to a 360 Degrees Force for Health Ambassador or Group Leader for access to premium features like our virtual wellness club, personalized health risk assessments, and interactive 360 degrees human anatomy libraries. For more information, please visit www.theforceforhealth.com. Thanks again for listening, and remember, be a force for health.